welcome back to the Phoned-In Show with your hosts. Oh, fucking hell, me and him. Phoned in.
What religion do you think we'd get in most trouble for if we, made fun of? That's a question for you.
Muslims.
Really? Do you think so? Do you not
Yeah, I think so.
I honestly, I don't know.
I think so.
I think it's between them and Jews.
No, people hate Jews now, remember? Palestine and that.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah,
it's back
and Palestinians are Muslims, I think.
Okay, so it's back in fashion to hate the Jews.
Yeah, it
okay,
is,
that's
remember?
fun then. All right, then.
which is crazy. That really, I'm glad you brought this up, Jude, because that really kind of encompasses the tone of the entire podcast with history, really. Funny, also maybe shouldn't joke about it. Maybe, but still gonna.
Nobody listens anyway, it's not.
Oh, dear. That's a gift and a curse, because, we obviously have not had an audience to interact with, which would have been nice. But it also means I can't get fired from my job for the horrific things I've said. No, I've not really said anything horrific, other than joking about strangling dogs is probably the worst thing. But I didn't actually mean that, so satire?
Yeah. The thing is, though, in this country, I don't think it matters anymore. But as long as you're not saying anything bad about anyone who's currently in political office, then it's fine. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't think it's fine still. There's been a lot in the previous podcasts in previous weeks of big shit and quite heavy shit to talk about, and there's not really been anything else going on, so we've kind of almost been forced to talk about riots and paedophiles and shootings and things like that, which is actually a weekly occurrence in today's world. But I've turned it off. I uninstalled social media from my phone anyway. But then, not only that, because obviously I could still be tempted to go on it on my computer, and here and there slightly I have. But more often than not now, because of how heavy and all sorts the previous weeks have been in terms of what we've been talking about, I've started typing in and gone, nah.
Yeah.
I've not even wanted to try and look at anything, any sort of news or anything lately. So, I've not. Instead of that, I've been watching Umbrella Academy, which is worse.
Oh, yeah. I've not started
right into that.
I've not started yet, but I've not heard
don't worry about it.
I've not heard good things.
No, seriously, don't bother. It's it's not that it's really shit. It's just that there's not really any point.
Yeah.
You can tell they still had a season on their contract, but they knew that this is not something any of us wants to do anymore now, and people don't really want to see it anymore, but we've already got a contract for the last season, and it's just about popular enough to put that out, so they kind of came up with something that'll do for that, and that's it.
Fair enough.
Honestly, there's not really any... It's got... You know that a semi-famous episode of Big Bang Theory where the nerds get really upset because someone points out if Indiana Jones was not part of the Indiana Jones story, the exact same thing would happen. Do you remember seeing that?
No, I haven't seen that. No.
Well, that's Umbrella Academy.
Yeah.
It's literally... And I'm not just talking this last season. The whole show.
Yeah. The
whole show. If none of the characters that we've been following this entire time, except I'm not just talking the main character, all of them. If none of them existed, the exact same thing would happen. Maybe give or take some things, but you're being really pedantic about that. So, what a fucking waste of time that was. I've followed that since 2019 for half a decade. Yeah. What a waste of time that shit was.
I was never super into it. I watched it, but I was just never, big on it. I was never bothered.
I found it a shame because, the idea of it, I liked. It lost me a lot when the monkey died.
And he dies in the first season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really quick to lose me. You can't kill the the monkey butler.
Yeah.
Like, the monkey butler in any show is likely going to be the best part. I don't need to know much else about the show to know the monkey butler is probably going to be the best part. So don't kill the monkey butler.
But then Luther was part monkey as well. He had a bit of monkey in it. That's what gave him his
that was just
big,
like
sexy, hairy chest.
Cringe and...
And he wanted to fuck his sister. Not his real sister. But also maybe his real sister, because we don't know where they came from, because they all...
We do now.
Oh, do we? So did he want to fuck his sister? Yeah. Yeah, that's a yeah, isn't it? That's a yeah face. He wanted to fuck his sister,
It's not that simple at all, because obviously this show has to be fucking weird about stuff. But, like, kinda.
Yeah. He wanted to fuck his sister,
So the way it works, because don't bother watching the last season, and I think we only find this out in the last season, but it don't really matter, is that their dad, who adopted him, released this, like... And this don't even make sense. Released this thing called Marigold. Released this fucking, like, cocaine into the world, which then went out and, like, smeared itself on some women. Okay. Just random women. Yeah. Again, what, did the wind just happen to carry it? What was this all coincidence? What the fuck? And then they shut up babies instantly. Yeah. So, like, the thing that got them pregnant was the same thing. Yeah. All of them. So, like... Well, like kind of like there's almost like this like shit that this like fucking gas that he released is the father. Yeah. So like maybe. So, you know what I mean? Like maybe they were kind of actually a bit siblings.
Gaseous incest.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. But even that, this is the thing that had a downfall with that show. They just stopped giving a shit all the time. Because like when they released this stuff, it was a gas, obviously, like I said. But then, in the last season, they happened to find some... Because for some reason, they lost their powers. But, like, even that didn't make sense in the last season. But anyway, so this one, they've lost their powers. So they find some more of it. Mm-hmm. But now it's a liquid. Oh. Because they all have to do shots of it, because that's going to be a funny scene. Mm-hmm. And it also, because Klaus is sober in this season, he don't want to drink the shot, and then he's not got his powers, but the rest have, and some other shit happens. It's like, you just wanted Klaus to not have his powers for a bit more than the others, didn't you? So you made it like made the whole rules different. It's like, it's just like sloppiest sci-fi, like with a good concept as well. They're just taken a good concept and just like slopped it out. Yeah, it's like It's like pizza, right? Pizza, great concept for a food. We know it's delicious. Umbrella Academy is school cafeteria pizza. It's like, I guess this is maybe a tiny bit better than, like, the vegetable slop they gave me yesterday. But I really wish it was, like, actually pizza. Because this is not really... great. Anyway, speaking of not really great, Borderlands is going to be the same. No, we already talked about that plenty.
We haven't seen it yet, though, have we?
I changed my rating for the Umbrella Academy then. If you don't know, we keep a spreadsheet where we rate movies and TV out of 100. It dropped down to a 65 overall, which is still not an awful score. But it's because, like, the first season I really liked. The second season was, like, pretty solid. The third season was, like, kind of bad. Not loads bad, but it was kind of bad. And then I think this is the fourth season, and it's just, like, I would guess it's mid. So
what really always made me laugh
I'll put that to, like, a 62.
what always made me laugh in Umbrella Academy was in season 3 was when Vanya transitioned to Victor. Yeah, and it was just how they did the whole Victor deciding who he was thing. Yeah. Because do you remember what happened?
Not fully, but I remember how I felt about it when it was happening.
He walks past... So Vanya, at this point, walks past this random barber shop, looks at a picture in a window of some guys with some haircuts, thinks, and then walks back to everybody and goes, "Hey guys, it's Victor now." That's it! That's all. It's like, where the fuck did that come from?
And then obviously they're all like,
yeah, they're all like, yeah, whatever. And it's like...
but the problem with that is, like, we talked about it when it happened. You're an actor.
Yeah.
Just play the woman character.
just act.
But now, like, they
yeah.
completely changed that character
Yeah.
because I looked it up. Completely changed how that character acts from the comics, and just like I know that like there's kind of multiple universe stuff going on in comic books and things like that, but I don't know. It was so obvious that the only reason this was happening was because Elliot Page had some stuff going on.
There must not have even been more than like 2 minutes worth on it. It was literally like, oh my god, these guys looked good with a certain type of haircut. Oh my god, I want to be a man. It was like, what the fuck?
And it's pathetic to present something as like simple as that. They could have made it like a big deal and like really emotional and cool. It could have been an interesting character journey, which is supposedly what it's like in real life, by the way. So all you had to do was like what exists. So what the fuck?
It's like in season 2 we had the whole thing where she ended up like having an affair with that woman who had the kid.
Also doesn't happen in the comic books, by the way. None of that happens.
But fine, because they took time with it and made it like a compelling part of the story. Like you know, they didn't with this.
Well, kind of fine, in that you can still tell that that's just because of the actor, and I don't like that. It shouldn't be. Whatever the character's doing shouldn't be because the actor wants them to do it. The actor's being paid to play a character that is that character for a reason, and it serves a story and things like that. Whatever the character's doing should serve the story of whatever you're presenting to someone. It shouldn't just serve what the actor fancies doing or, you know, the actor's opinion. They're there to act. Like, you know, if they were just doing whatever they want, then why don't they play themselves? You know, it's just stupid. So even then, I still weren't a fan of it, but that was, like you were saying, definitely better because at least they kind of presented it in a better way than... Oh yeah, that haircut's cool. Yeah. By the way, I don't want a cock now.
Yeah, I want a cock.
Listen, don't we all want a cock?
God,
right?
I want a cock.
Hey, there's one here.
Yeah, I want to be with somebody. Like it's a freeze frame.
That also implies that like I'm gonna walk past like a women's hairdresser and see some really cool long hair and come out going, by the way, it's Jacqueline now. Yeah.
That's how it fucking works. That's how it works.
Yeah. Can you shut that window, please? Because it started raining, and I don't want the live stream to end suddenly because my computer gets drowned. So, there we go. But yeah, Umbrella Academy. A weird shame that I think it came out and got caught up in. I feel sorry for it in that it got caught up in a big trans rights movement thing, like a period where trans rights talk was kind of more talked about than now, because it's kind of people have settled more on what end of the argument they're gonna, not fully, still plenty to talk about it, but it was a bit more hot then. And COVID, like literally right in the middle of the seasons as well. Yeah, I feel a bit bad for it. It had a lot of promise, and it's like it got beaten up.
I thought you were saying that it got swept away in all the sort of like big superhero hype that was happening at the time, because it was. At that time, it was like Endgame, and then it was like the second series of The Boys, and then this came out, and people started running with it as well. So it was part of like the whole big superhero.
Yeah. It's true, but
that's me then.
No, you're right, but I think that benefited it really. If anything, it meant that it got the budget that it would have needed, because superhero stuff was doing well. But then I think because some of the other stuff did better, it then suffered because people were like, oh, this one's not as good.
Yeah.
Do you know the worst one? And I think it's called like Jupiter Rising or something like that.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, Jupiter Rising. Oh wait, no. Is it?
No, that's a 2015 film. Jupiter's
Sun. Jupiter's Sons?
Jupiter's Legacy.
Yeah, that's it.
What a stupid title. What a forgettable title. I tried to watch this one. It's the most forgettable. It's still on Netflix as well. God, it's got that, like, famous guy in it.
Andrew Horton.
I guess...
Oh, the other one.
No, the guy who plays the main guy. Where is he? Who plays that guy?
He plays Mr. Pluto. Oh, no, Mr. Jupiter, sorry.
Yeah, who plays him? This is how much no one gave a shit about this. surely it's like there he is, Josh.
Is he famous?
Yeah, like his face is in stuff. I bet he's in more things than we think. The Shotgun Wedding.
Oh, he's in a lot of like rom-com stuff.
Yeah, Transformers. That's where I recognise him from.
I wouldn't know what
He plays the Marine in Transformers.
Oh, the one Marine. That one.
The Marine guy.
The one Marine.
Yeah, he plays that guy. Oh, and Love Simon. Oh no, I've not seen that. That's that. I thought that was a different movie. I thought he was in more things. I'm going to be honest, but I guess I just really recognised him from Transformers. Oh, he was in Movie 43 as well. Do you remember Movie 43? No. This was ridiculous. This was... I can't remember why I remember this kind of being a thing, but it was essentially just a sketch compilation with loads of famous people in it.
Yeah.
Like, loads of them. Johnny Knoxville's in it, and it's just shit. It's really shit. Look, 5%.
Oh no!
Hugh Jackman's in it. Let me look at the cast of this. So who we got? We've got who's Steve Carr? I don't know. Elizabeth Banks, Kristen Bell, Halle Berry. Who else is famous? Gerard Butler. Common. Kieran Culkin, that Josh guy I was telling you about. Richard Gere. There's definitely more famous people than this in it.
Oh no, Stephen Merchant, not Wheatley. They got my boy Wheatley, the fucking stupid core in this.
There's a sketch where Hugh Jackman's playing this guy, and I think he's on a date, and the whole like premise of it is he has balls on his chin. That's it.
Where's that fucking Men in Black bit?
No, it were a guy who kind of his chin was slightly.
Yeah, but that was a Men in Black bit as well, though, weren't it? The ball chinian.
Oh yeah. Oh, actually, yeah, you're right. Yeah, but Jupiter's Legacy was another one that came out in that sort of time.
Was there a ball chinian in Jupiter's Legacy?
No. It was it's the worst you can be. This show.
Yeah.
Because it weren't like so awful that you would want to tell people how awful it was. It was just like not good.
Yeah.
It was just like it's not even fun to talk about. Why are we talking about it? Shut up. Yeah. So Umbrella Academy's gone down a bit again because I watched Bodkin. Did I tell you about Bodkin?
What the fuck is Bodkin?
So this is like a murder mystery. Well, it's a mystery type of presented. You know, like murder mysteries are presented. Set in Ireland. To start with, I kind of really got into it and found it fun, and then like I don't know, kind of just weren't really that interesting.
Yeah, okay.
In the middle,
yeah,
and then like the last episode was good.
Oh, okay.
that was kind of it. 60. It was all right. Okay. Do you know what this has a problem with? And I think it really shows when a TV show's like this, when they get multiple directors. Like, you have a different director who directs each episode, even though they all know the story and they were probably all there through the planning and all that sort of thing, and they'll have worked as a team and then gone and directed different episodes. But it just means that, like, everything's handled a bit differently. Because everyone's going to be doing different things and prefer different ways of doing stuff.
I really like it when people do a sort of, like, director thing for each episode, but when it's a lot more when like it's the story isn't just like a continuing story from one episode to the other. It's more like based around like an idea of something, kind of like Love, Death and Robots. That's right.
Yeah, well, kind of like anthology shows. Yeah, but good for that.
But like, you know, so like the I don't know the I don't know, the setting might be like Night City. And then, like, you know, you have, like, a cyberpunk anthology that it's a bunch of different animation studios and directors for each one, but it's all based around Night City.
What's that other one that's, like, that's got... the room's the same number.
Oh, Inside Number 9.
Inside Number 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great example for that. And that's a way where that benefits it, but most scenarios it doesn't benefit it, I think. You could have a different director per season of a show, potentially, but I still think it's going to be best to get the same director to direct every episode of a show.
If it's like a continuing story, then it needs to be the same director.
Yeah. It's kind of similar with movies sometimes. Like MCU, for example, shouldn't have the same director per thing because actually they're directing different types of movies.
Yeah.
So like Spider-Man's a bit like a teen movie, Ant-Man's a heist movie, and then you've got like your kind of spy drama in Winter Soldier, and you need directors that kind of specialise in those sorts of things a bit more, really, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Fair enough. Deadpool and Wolverine, our rating for that. Judd gave it 65, which is lower than it deserves. And then I give it 84. And turns out my score is closest to what other people think. So I'm right.
I think we're fine. I just thought we were fine.
You just didn't like it as much as you normally would have because you're just generally miserable.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Hopefully you're not soon.
Yeah.
That's the best I can do. The Boys. I changed my score on The Boys, and I think I probably lowered it. I don't know if I talked about this already, but I think
you told me about it. I don't know if you talked about it on the podcast. I also don't know if you'd watched to the very end of the season.
Well, I have now.
Yeah.
So, forgot what happened in the last episode completely. I might have been drunk when I watched the last episode.
I'll just talk about it because one, nobody listens to this anyway, and two, here's The Boys spoiler warning. Then.
Yeah.
So,
does anything important happen? Really, it didn't feel like it.
I mean, yeah. So, Newman dies. Newman's dead.
Oh, who killed her?
Butcher ripped her in half because Butcher's got fucking venom powers.
Oh,
he's got venom going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand why that's happening, but
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like just feels slightly odd that he did have different powers from that other thing.
I felt that a bit as well.
But I guess I can justify it in that was temporary and this is permanent.
Yeah. So essentially, what was happening was. At least how I think the whole thing was working out is that he had the temp fee in his systems, and I think the way that temp fee works is that it gives the person their sort of subconscious ideals of like what being a super powered person would be.
But this is headcanon, isn't it?
This is headcanon. But the reason I say that is because Butcher's powers were very similar to Homelander's powers, because that's his sort of like...
But why did Huey do what he did then?
Well, because... he sees like being able to get out of any situation as being the most powerful thing. It's like, because at heart he's a coward.
I suppose it feels slightly stretching. I just kind of thought that, like, because it's temporary and different chemical composition, it just like chemically alters you in a different way than the permanent one would.
I personally think that it relied a little bit on what you thought was subconscious.
Fine.
But then what happened was Butcher was dying from having too much temp fee, because that'll do it to you.
Who saw that coming when that was introduced? This show's not as good as people think. It's still pretty good though.
So Butcher's dying. That's all happening. He's got big tumours in his head, and then he said at one point. I did like
the bit where he went, "Hey, I
got tumours in my head."
How does he do that? I'm fucking Butcher, mate. I've got tumours in my head. Whoa!
He went,
fucking chips and gravy.
He went, "Ewy, do you think that Starlight's looking a little bit peculiar this season?"
She's got tumours in her head as well.
She has. So
that would be really funny. So what's that scene where she's looking at the older version of herself and she's like upset? It felt like they did that to her on purpose.
I know.
And it would be so funny if there was actually a point in the script where they didn't tell her. It's just like, Ewy, do you
Ewy, I don't want to like get under your skin or nothing, mate, but I think that Starlight might be a plant. Butcher, what?
And she was.
She was. But Butcher, what are you saying, man? What are you saying, dude?
I like the idea that it was just that shapeshifter all along, but that shapeshifter were a bit shit.
Ewy,
like, couldn't fully get it right.
She's got 7 new angles in her face, mate.
Pythagoras just took a fucking theorem to her face.
And then MM was like, "Hey, Butch, I don't know what's happening right now, but Starlight's freaking me out." Okay, I'll do Kim McCall then.
That's the best joke we've ever done. That's great. That's really good.
Yeah. So Butcher was definitely like actually dying from the temp fee, and then he said he nicked some actual fee off Frenchie at some point. So then I think what happened is it was.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but like stuff like that again is like. What, you just did that, you know? It's like...
Yeah, I think he did it, I don't know, he did it because he wanted to fucking...
No, I'm not talking character motivations, I'm talking like, what, so Frenchie just had some, did it?
Yeah,
like, you know, where's this come from? You can't just say, oh, I nicked some from Frenchie, he had some fucking, Starlight, look shit. So, you know, apparently Homelander's supposed to fucking lock down this shit as much as possible, and Frenchie just wandering about.
There was a lot of stuff with Homelander not just not being as... And this isn't me, like, glazing Homelander, even though I do love to glaze some Homelander, some home.
He's literally got the costume.
But but like even in the show, they'd establish it that like his hearing was like ridiculously good, and you know that all of his senses were stupid good. And then
they're only like that when needed.
Yeah, you know, exactly. And there were a lot of that this season. But anyway, going back to what I'm trying to say. He stuck himself full of actual fee, and then I think that's at the time that Joe started showing up, Joe Kessler, because I feel what they're trying to do there is because all of the superheroes are like parodies of other existing superheroes from other franchises. I think essentially they wanted an excuse to make Butcher Venom. Because that's what those powers are. Like, it fucking...
I guess, I mean, it weren't that on the nose, but... Maybe then. I don't think it matters. At this point, like, we get it. Okay, you've done the kind of parody bit of it, but you don't need to, they don't all need to be a parody every time or anything like that. And I don't think, especially when you've got your own original characters in it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do think that they were going for a Venom thing, though. Well, especially with like what his powers are.
To me, that don't really necessarily matter so much, personally, because you need the actual, like, it's like, it's stuff like that. If they were trying to do that, then they spent too much time trying to do that and not thinking about, oh, Butcher's just got some fucking V from Frenchie, let's make him get it from there, rather than thinking of like an actually like interesting or plausible way he might have got some, you know?
My favourite bit of the series, though, was when they went to go do that little... I can't remember why the fuck they were there, to be honest, but it was during that whole Thor on Ice bit.
So they went to meet with... Did they go to meet with A-Train?
Is that what they were doing there?
I can't remember.
I honestly can't remember.
They were doing some shit.
Because I know that Homelander, Newman, and Sage were meeting there, but I don't know if that's why they went there. I feel like they
didn't expect him to be there.
Yeah. Whatever, I can't remember. But the reason why I like that bit so much is because the guy who was doing the lead male vocals for that whole song they were doing is the lead singer from Book of Mormon. And I got that straight away. I was like, oh, that's not that's Elder Price from Book of Mormon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't care.
But it was Elder Price from Book of Mormon.
So what happened in the end then? What's actually important?
So, everybody got taken away, apart from Starlight. She flew away. Because her powers just weren't working for some reason this season, which...
I think it's probably all that plastic that was in it.
That makes sense. That'd make sense. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Homelander's basically the president now, because Newman's dead, and the other guy got arrested because he got framed for assassination, and then the Speaker of the House became acting president, and he called up Homelander basically being like, hey, I love you, babes, don't... break me in half and I'll do whatever you want. So Homelander basically became president.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they found his daddy. Homelander was like, bye, my daddy.
Did they? Who's dad then?
Soldier Boy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They found him
See, I think it's forgettable, Judd, honestly. It really is. I watched a recap that actually reminded me of that before going into this. I've forgotten everything that happened in the recap. I'm taking the score down more, honestly. It's just like the more I think about it, I put it down to 74 out of 100. The more I think about it, the more it's just kind of like, again, a bit similar to Umbrella Academy, but not as bad. In that, like, you've got this really cool concept and a lot of good stuff you could do with it. It kind of feels like the story's not been prioritised in favour of, like, kind of something that will have worked well for them, kind of marketable, shareable things that can happen. That's like you were saying when we were talking about it when we went to see Deadpool and Wolverine. Why is that guy like eating his own ass in the middle of it?
Yeah.
Their priority is to make shit like that happen in this show, because that's what people are like. Oh, have you seen that scene where he like eats his own ass? Isn't that fucking weird?
It never comes up again. The thing is like, even the scene where the dude like goes inside the guy's dick and like is scratching at the walls and stuff of his cock and then expands and blows him up. That's at least showing that this superhero that they're gunning for is like reckless and doesn't really care. He's just sort of like doing it for thrills and stuff. Well, it also gave them dirt on him. Like it's what they were going there to do.
I know.
They just walk in on this guy like rimming himself 4 times over, fucking cubed rim, rim cube. Sorry,
that would be 3, Judd. But...
Sorry, but you know what I mean. What is it for 4? Is it?
To the power of 4.
To the power of that's not. It needs to be like a word because that's not as cool. But anyway,
well, I guess. Well, there's not like a 4-dimensional square, is there?
Make one. Isn't that what cube is?
No. 3D.
Oh yeah, okay.
You fucking hell.
So we're talking.
You're like a writer for the boys.
we're talking about a 3D cube, but you need to be able to smell it as well. So then that's the 4th dimension.
Well, the 4th dimension's time.
Fuck! Right.
So you're talking about like an old 3D cube. You're talking about an old cube.
I remember when I used to be a square.
Okay, that you redeemed yourself.
I can't even remember what I was trying to fucking.
Yeah. No. But the thing is, like, it was, you know, it were kind of showing these people who are organising these rallies to actually be fucking like idiots who like, and I guess he already kind of got that across without needing that. Do you know what I want to say about that though is it's not that we don't want fucking ridiculous stuff like that to happen, because that's really cool to kind of see and fun. But the problem is when there's too much focus on that it then sacrifices like the actual meat and potatoes of your story. Yeah, like honestly, there's a problem in that. In theory, maybe they should have spent more time figuring out all the details about like where he got that V. I'm just using getting V from Frenchy as an example, but there's more bits of that as it go in the whole show. I feel like maybe they should have spent more time and figured out all those details. But then the show would have had a massive gap. But although I never feel like the gap between boys' seasons is that big, to be fair. But it would have had much bigger gaps between each season, and obviously. That's a problem, because I fucking forgot what happened. So that's a big problem as well. So I guess maybe they're trying to balance that too. I think it's better to have the bigger gap and then just give people a good recap.
What do you think to the fact that they're now making a prequel show, which is going to be called Fort Rising, which is about Soldier Boy and Stormfront?
No.
Yeah.
Don't care. I don't care about that bit.
If
you're going to do a prequel, do it set in the 90s. With some just ones we've not seen. Just a completely different story, just in that universe, in like that era. That'd be cool.
And then season 2 of Gen V's coming out as well.
Why?
It just is. I don't know.
Why though?
I don't know.
Like maybe because they're obviously not important. We didn't barely fucking saw any of him in last season of The Boys, so who fucking cares now? I'm getting annoyed at this whole universe again. It's like it's weird to complain about it so much, but still give it a 74. You know, I prefer Gen V. Like the one season of Gen V on its own is better than The Boys.
It did have Mr. Krabs in it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
If this podcast had Mr. Krabs in it, that would improve it.
Yeah.
So, that's true. But yeah, I don't know. It's just the age-old thing that happens to any sort of good sort of media. We'll leave it at media, but it probably happens to everything realistically. It can start off good, and then they just try and milk it, and it goes down the shitter. I mean, I literally can't think of any... We do this semi-regularly. Marvel, for me, was at one point like the bastion of I can't believe they've come out with so much stuff and all of it's at least good. Yeah. It might not be very good, but it's at least good. That's not the case anymore. There's some stuff that's kind of bad. Well, actually, the in-universe stuff, there's nothing that's terrible. Because the only thing that I can think of, Marvel-wise, that's terrible is the What If show. But that's not in-universe, so...
I love your hatred for the What If show. I don't
what do you mean my hatred?
I know, I don't like it either, but...
It sucks. It's awful. You gave it 30 out of 100.
I didn't like it either, but I love your hatred for it.
It's shit. It's so bad. Yeah. But this is how you know that, like, I am quite objective. Like, there is some admitted, like, non-objective opinions to these scores. Yeah. But I, as a person, am pretty objective when it comes to stuff because I'm a Marvel fanboy. In theory, I should want to rate these things higher, and that sucks. So, but other than that, there's nothing terrible to it. But at one point, like, there weren't anything that were even bad. There weren't even anything that was just average. It was all, like, at least a little bit better than your average thing.
Yeah.
So that was, like, something you could point to and be like, this is good. And it's not been ruined. And now, well, even that's not immune to it.
Yeah.
It's definitely been tainted a lot. At one point, for me, Harry Potter was a good one of those. Every Harry Potter film, fantastic. Literally every Harry Potter film is great. Then they did Fantastic Beasts. Pretty good. Like, it's maybe even better than some of the worser Harry Potter films. Mm-hmm. And then they did Fantastic Beasts 2. That sucks. It sucks. Fantastic Beasts in Where to Find Them is the good one. Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. That's not what I'm looking for. Fantastic Beasts:
The Crimes of Grindelwald.
40. Yeah. Is that right?
Critics.
Hollyoaks 39. I'm going to put that to 31. That's not right. Yeah. Crimes of Grindelwald. Is that worse than the Batman? No. They're about the same. But the Batman's long as fuck.
Have I not rated the Batman? Oh no, I have. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah, that's another thing that's overrated. The Batman. People read, like, obviously, they don't rate it like 90s out of 100, but it sucks.
I had an alright time with it. And I watched it again recently as well, because I was showing Nan and Grandad it, because we're going to watch The Penguin when that comes out.
I'm not going to watch The Penguin at all.
Fine. The Penguin's not for you, it's for me.
It's not for me.
I want to listen to... what's his fucking... Is it Russell Crowe? Russell Crowe. I want to
listen to Russell Crowe.
I want to listen to Russell Crowe fucking say Moida again.
Okay. I want to know what's the most overrated thing that we've both rated. Looks like American Horror Story. Because that gets gets 70... Although I've probably not updated the scores on that for ages. Let's have a quick check-in on American Horror Story to see how that franchise is going, how that series is going. American Horror Story. Is it still going? I remember the first time I watched this, I was still a virgin. 77 and 67, so it's gone up 1 point with critics, and it's gone down 4 points with audiences. And it's the same on IMDb. So, yeah, 67, 77, and 80 is what most people get it. We've rated it 13 from Judd and 15 from me.
Just what the fuck's happening in it?
Nothing! There's a whole bunch of shit, and somehow nothing as well.
Yeah.
That is... Oh, my God, it's fucking awful. I hate shows like that. I hate it. This is a picture. I say it all the time, don't I? Story is always what matters the most in any sort of media. This does not give a shit. This show is the epitome of style over substance. And then they put Lady Gaga in it. That's why I'm worried about the next Joker movie. It's like the last time I watched something and then they put Lady Gaga in it. It made it somehow even worse and it was terrible. So either they're going to put Lady Gaga in it and it's going to make it somehow even better, because like maybe she makes things somehow more the direction it's going.
Yeah.
Or she's going to tank it. I feel like she's going to tank it. Just talking about that Joker sequel... When you watch the first Joker, and then we found out kind of what the next one is going to be a bit like, my first impression was like, this is not a story that fits like a Harley Joker kind of duo type thing to me. I feel like, and if they did do it, there's a lot more we can get out of kind of this sort of vibe of him first.
Yeah. I have to wait and see the movie because for me, this is just one of those where it's like I have to see it before I give a response to it because I just need to see how they do it.
But why?
Just because I think with the first Joker when that was coming out, a lot of people were thinking that it were going to be shit because it was directed by him who did the Hangover movies, weren't it? And
I don't remember hearing a lot of that sentiment. I think a lot of people seem to be excited for it.
A lot of, but it came out and it was great. Is what I'm saying, and it's just it did its own thing with the Joker, and I think this is doing its own thing with this, and I just want to see what it does before I pass judgment. It's all like,
I think that's being very kind to it. Is it the same director?
Yeah, it's the same guy.
Okay, well that's promising.
Yeah. I think
like we were saying,
you might want to check, but
okay.
I'm pretty sure it's the same guy.
Joker director Todd Phillips, because I was thinking Todd Howard. Joker. No, if Todd Howard's directing
who's laughing now? If Todd Howard would have directed it, there would have been 50 fucking like load screens in it. Okay,
so it's the same guy.
Him, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
because it really does need to be. But the problem with that is like, I just don't think Harley fits into that vibe that we've gotten from this universe that's been set up for the Joker.
I just gotta see what they do here. Like, what he does to. I
know what you're saying, but like, the thing is, for me, the way I've always seen Harley depicted in things, it's quite relatively consistently been a certain way. That I know that way that she's been depicted in things wouldn't work well with this universe. Now, if they then choose to depict her in a different way, then that's like not really what that character's like, and why you're kind of making that character
talking about
her.
How Joker used to beat the shit out of her. I used to
no, that's not what I'm talking about.
Silly.
You just wanted to think about that.
Well, no, actually, what are you thinking of then? If that's not because
she's always been like. Obviously, backstory-wise, has potentially had some trauma stuff, but always been like relatively whimsical. And I suppose you could have said that about the Joker before people started depicting him as a lot more of a dark character. So that's why I have still got some hope. But the whole like adding Harley in it seems really risky to me. But I guess what else were they going to do if they were going to do a sequel? Yeah. I don't want them to do a sequel for this Joker, personally. Yeah. I would have preferred them to just leave it be.
I think I'm more like that. But
we don't get that nowadays as a thing, do we?
No.
People are not willing to just make a good film.
When Joker came out, I actually thought it was going to go a completely different way because a lot of people were talking about how old Joker is in that movie, because like Arthur's like 30 or 40 something.
I would probably say 40s. Yeah, like maybe early 40s. Yeah. He looks like he could be 50, but like obviously smoked a bunch and hard life.
And Bruce is like 10.
Let's Google it.
So
you can keep talking.
But Bruce is like 10 in the first Joker movie. So I thought
he's in his 30s in the script.
Yeah. So because
34.
Everybody was saying, well, how's it going to work out then for when he does eventually become Batman and Joker's his nemesis? Would it just be like a very old Joker?
Why not?
Like which is fine, but I thought what was going to happen is the big twist was going to be got you. This is actually Flashpoint Batman, because what happens in Flashpoint is but it wouldn't entirely work because it was Joker and it's in that. But in Flashpoint, the idea is that Bruce gets shot in the alleyway. And Thomas becomes Batman. Yeah, because then Thomas and Joker would have been a similar age then, because that's about how old Thomas is in that movie as well. Maybe a little bit older, maybe like 10 years or so.
It doesn't sound like that'll line up. But...
No, well, it didn't, because that's not what they did. But I thought essentially what they were going to do was they were going to set it up so, like, if they were going to do a sequel, it'd be Thomas Wayne Batman versus Arthur Fleck Joker. But that's not what happened.
But what you mean? You thought that was going to happen before the Joker movie came out?
Yeah. I thought that's how the first Joker movie was going to go. I thought the twist was going to be that Bruce gets shot in this one. But
again, I kind of think I'm just glad they didn't. I mean, but I also wish they would like just leave it.
Yeah.
Like I just want a cool film to be a cool film. It's annoying when you know that the sequels to certain stuff are going to be kind of
Yeah.
I'm not saying this sequel is necessarily going to be. I'm kind of thinking, it might be. My prediction for that film is going to be either. Oh God, actually, it could be quite a few things. I've just thought it's either going to be like 10, and I'll absolutely hate it and resent it for what it's done to it. I don't massively think it's going to be that. It could be like a 35-40, where it's like it is bad, but it's not awful. I suppose there's quite a few things to admire about it. Or maybe a 60, where it's like it's kind of good, I guess, but it's nowhere near as good as it should have been. Those are what I think. Some of the things I think it could be. I really doubt that it's going to be like. I think I gave the other Joker a 91.
You don't think it's going to beat the first Joker?
No, not at all. I think the Joker's going to beat the first Harley, is what I think is going to happen. I actually think that might happen in it.
It might beat the shit out of her, yeah.
Yeah.
It would be more comic accurate if he did. And
I thought you meant like it would be more comedic. It would be funnier.
It probably would as well.
Could be.
It was always funny when he beat the shit out of her in the animated ones.
God. I suppose it was meant to be funny in that.
Yeah.
But.
Oh.
Anyway, beating women bad apparently. So Marvel What If is the other like really overrated thing because it gets 94, 94, and then 75. It is not that good. We should check in on the scores on that because there's been more seasons of that as well. Let's see what if. And it's just called What If now. 89 and 79. So. People don't like this as much anymore, especially audiences. It's gone from 94 to 79. What if? IMDb's gone down a point as well, so... People do end up realising we're right in these scenarios eventually with stuff. I've noticed that with Apex a lot as well, you know. For ages, and I didn't want to say it on Reddit or anything like that, because I know people are fucking ridiculous on Reddit and will flame me for anything. I swore up and down that automatic weapons, almost, unless they particularly buff shotguns or anything, that almost always they've got an inherent massive advantage compared to shotguns and things like that. So the thing is, especially at a really high level, consistency is what you want. You really want consistency in that I know I'm going to be able to hit all my shots. That makes a huge difference in a shooter game. Now, if you then miss some shots with a shotgun, you've done no damage. If you miss some shots with an SMG, you've done nearly all the damage you were capable of doing still. It's the consistency is a huge advantage, and people were running Wingman and Peacekeeper, two, single-shot weapons and thinking they were best ones. Now, everyone runs, assault rifles and SMGs. Because
R301 and R99.
Well, not those ones now, because things have changed,
okay.
But, basically. And what am I meant to do now? Be like, told you so. No, you fucking didn't. It's more like, oh my God. So, eventually people realise that I'm right. But they never want to admit it. Yeah. For some reason, it's not okay for me to be right. Anyway, what else is overrated? The Shining's very overrated as well. That was a massively overrated one. Judd don't think so as much. This one is overrated. RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah.
Too fucking right.
Nope.
Oh, the movie? No.
Yeah, nope.
Yeah, you gave that 42. It sucks. It's really bad.
I really liked the design for the...
What's this one that I hit? Oh, BoJack Horseman. We could argue about BoJack Horseman for eternity. Oh, God, it's so bad. People are starting to realise this as well. Have you not seen... Any time I see a BoJack Horseman meme now, which is very rare,
No, I know what you're talking about.
it's always like, sure, no, everyone thinks it's good, just has ones that just is sad. He's saying what I've said about it for fucking years, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, life is hell, Judd. Why are people like this? What's this one that's overrated? The Mighty Boosh. Oh, God.
Yeah, fucking... who gave the Mighty Boosh a 100?
Rotten Tomatoes critics.
Why?
Let's see if it's changed. I doubt it. There's no more seasons come out. The Mighty Boosh. This is the 191 from audiences now. People are starting to realise, just it's going down. This is random is funny, lol.
Yeah,
that's what this show is. To be fair, when I was younger, I did used to find random funny. God, I was watching a video recently about the difference between brain rot from our era and the brain rot that kids nowadays look at, and it's not different really.
Yeah,
the brain rot's brain rot. We had shit like Fred, and they've got Skibbity Toilet. It's all brain rot in the end.
I feel like Skibbity Toilet is just worse than Fred.
It's not. It's really not. Honestly, badger, mushroom.
That's got class.
It's not worse. It's the same thing.
Somebody had to hand draw those badgers. They didn't in Skibbity Toilet. That's all fucking. That's all.
Do you remember when you were a big fan of the TF2 animations? It literally.
What do you mean? What do you mean when? Do you mean now?
It's literally using the same engine and everything to animate it.
But you see, they don't. The Skibbity Toilet community don't have the humour like the TF2 community has.
They've got an epic storyline. It's the same thing.
What's the
brain rot's brain rot? I don't know what it is. I'm not 3, so I don't follow it. But we mentioned at some point before we finish then. Or that you brought up the idea of suggesting one of these things that we want the other to try out, but they've just never ended up bothering.
Yeah.
And kind of, saying, right, okay, well, I'll do what you say and you do what I say, and we'll then kind of chat about it. I think now is a good time to do that. Okay. Like, obviously, I'm not saying we do it as a podcast thing, but just because we're still recording the podcast for now, why not? So, I think I'll start you off with Kina Bridge of Spirits.
Okay.
It's just a fun game that really I kind of, talking about it makes me want to play it again. It's a more modern, it's not massively modern now, but it's a more modern game that just reminds me of kind of like those linear story games that we used to like. It's often a lot of the linear story games we used to like were a bit more edgy than this is. It's maybe a bit closer to like when we were young enough for things like Ratchet and Clank and Jack and Daxter and Tak and the Power of Juju to be the games we were more interested in. So it just kind of reminds me of that, and it's just nice. It's just nice. Just a nice time. It's one of those games that can, if you just sit and enjoy it, can make you forget that that the president did get shot and there is a riot outside.
He got shot.
And some of the
and the Borderlands movie.
Don't remind me of that one. Now, it might not be potent enough to make you forget about that.
Yeah.
But Kina Bridge of Spirits. Obviously, you might not complete it by next week, but well, you might do. How much is that? Allkeyshop.com is what not sponsored. It's where I normally look these things up. Let's see. Bridge of Spirits. You obviously want the game. Jeez, it's more expensive than I thought it'd be. But anyway, there you go. That's how much it is.
Oh, jeez, maybe at some point then. Maybe not this week.
You said.
Yeah, but I will when I've got 30 quid to spend. The thing that I want you to do is free, so...
Okay, well, I can give you a free one if you prefer.
Okay, yeah.
But it will take over 100 hours.
Okay, that's fine. I don't expect you to have mine finished for next week, so...
Well, why don't you start... You've got Spotify, right?
Yeah.
If you search for Red Rising...
God, I'm already listening to a fucking Warhammer audiobook.
Well, how long have you got left on that?
Probably about another 16 hours.
Fucking... You're making this really difficult, kid. Because I know that you'll suggest Barry, and I can start that now. I'm going to start it from the beginning again.
Yeah, I think you should.
Let me have a look. Let me have a look what else there is. What we got? I'm looking for video games. Have you played the updated Ratchet and Clank?
I haven't actually, no. I was thinking I was thinking about getting that, actually. Is that the one with...
I think it has to be on PS4 or 5, though.
I think it out on PC. I'm pretty sure I saw it come up on Steam.
Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank, when did it come out? When did this come out? Tell me. I'm just looking at the screen, not reading.
That's the reboot, though. That's
the reboot. That's what I'm
saying. Not Rifts Apart, then?
Rifts Apart is a sequel to the reboot.
Okay. Do you want me to play the reboot or the sequel to the reboot?
The reboot first, and then Rift Apart.
Okay.
But, let's focus on the reboot first.
This fucking came out with a movie that we somehow have never watched.
Yeah! Or did we watch it, but we were too drunk?
No, I've not watched it. I've never watched a single second of the Ratchet and Clank movie.
Wasn't there a show?
I don't know about a show. I know there was a movie that came out.
No, it's not on PC. I think Rift Apart's on PC. Or at least it's coming to PC. Perhaps. I'm not sure. Rift Apart might be.
I'm sure it's you can get it on Steam. Yeah.
Yeah. But... See, you're going to have to play this first. So you're going to have to buy a PS5. Yeah.
So that's it. I'll play Keena's Bridge of Spirits.
He's knocking everything over. Let me see if there's anything else. What else we got? Castlevania Lords of Shadow. What are you doing that for? The last time I told you about this game and how actually good it was, you just wanted to shit on it as well for no reason. I don't know what... This happens with you sometimes. That you'll just want to shit on something that someone likes out of nowhere. Like, but apparently it's consistent. What's wrong with you?
I just don't like vampires in it.
Fuck off. Death's Door is another one that I recommended. Death's Door. Come on, how much is this? Ooh, so you can get that on Steam. Well, it's actually €4, but it'll end up being about £4. So yeah, do that one. Death's Door. I might have to play through this again as well.
Tell me about this.
Yeah, ages ago. A long time ago. 2 years ago.
Okay, fair enough then.
So Death's Door is a really cool game. I might play through that as well at the same time so that I remind myself what it's like, and I'll watch Barry as well. And then next week we can have discussion of how far we get with those things. But at some point I do want you to play Kena Bridge of Spirits and but I suppose do Death's Door, and then the next one, once you've done with that Warhammer audiobook, will be Red Rising, I think.
You know what? Another one is that you could make me do as well. Utopia. I almost said Euphoria, but then I realised that's not the...
Yeah, that's the one where Zendaya's like a heroin addict or some shit, I don't know. Watch it if you want. I'm not seeing it, so... Utopia, yeah. Is it worth you playing Death's Door or watching Utopia?
I'll watch Utopia with my nan and granddad as well. Oh.
Okay. Alright, we'll both play Death's Door, you'll watch Utopia, and I'll watch Barry.
Okay.
Deal.
Nice.
Ugh. I don't really like touching your hands.
I don't.
You don't like having your hands, do you?
No. I'm like him off Always Sunny when he's like, doesn't like the size of his hands.
That's hilarious. That British Jack. He's one of my favourite characters. Right, well, that's that. Saturday, we might have boys' night. Not streaming that.
This
if
one?
you want to come
This Saturday. Okay,
yeah.
I can't because I'm at a tournament.
Okay,
so.
Also, podcast 250 is going to be the final podcast. Don't look at the presents, but I've had some ideas. Again, I'll just reiterate these and let me know if you come up with any different ideas. Knockoff versus real booze taste test.
Yeah.
Or like an alcohol challenge gauntlet where I come up with some multiple different challenges. Looking back at previous specials and maybe do some of the best activities we did from the last specials. World's strongest beer, and then taking some Polaroids before, after, and stuff like that. Cool.
Right.
Come up with ideas if you can. Okay,
oh,
anyway.
God.
That's
All
it.
right,
Podcast done. We're done. Fuck you.